Right, and now let's hop on to question number 6. So they say to us, we've got a stationary sound source that produces sound with a frequency of 170 hertz. A listener, L, in the car or in a car traveling at a constant speed of 12 meters per second towards this source. So we know that the source is stationary. Observes the frequency of the sound as X hertz. So they're saying we're going to observe this sound as X, whereas the frequency of the source is 170. The speed of the source is 0. It's stationary. Okay. Well, we've got the speed of the listener over here as 12 meters per second. Right, they said take the speed of sound in air to be 340. All right, so they say state the Doppler effect in words. And of course, I know that you guys already know how to state that. Right, now let's answer the second question. 6.1.2 says, will the observed frequency increase, decrease, or remain the same? Now, I want you to note in this case that they are giving us conditions at the bottom. So will it increase, decrease, or remain the same? Now let's look at the conditions. They say if the constant speed of the car moving towards the stationary sound source is greater than 12 meters per second. So definitely the higher that speed towards, as long as the car is moving towards the listener, the source, so in that case it would be it would increase. Okay, and on the next one they say if the sound produced by the source is loud. Now remember that the loudness of the sound has to do with its amplitude and nothing necessarily to do with its frequency. So in that case it would simply remain the same. Okay, right. All right, so let's go to the next question. They say to us the frequency of the sound source is changed. Okay. The listener now travels towards the stationary sound source at a constant speed of 24 meters per second. So they've changed the speed of the car. Okay. And they say calculate the new frequency of the sound source. Okay. The observed frequency is still X hertz. So they are telling us that we still have X. So the frequency of the listener is still going to be X, right? The velocity of sound, or rather of the source, at 0, that's speed of the source. The frequency of the source is now what we are looking for. Okay, right. So we need to come back to that. Right. So we don't have sufficient information for us to be able to calculate there, right? Because firstly, we don't know what the frequency of the source is, but nor do we know what is the frequency, the observed frequency. Okay, but remember, they did say that it was X hertz before, right? Remember when the car was still moving at 12 meters per second, so the frequency was still X. So perhaps we should find out what X is, right? What is the frequency of the listener in that case, right? So I'm going to say FL, that's V plus minus VL, divided by V plus minus VS times FS. So what I always prefer doing is then trying to establish which one is 0 in this case. So we know that the source has a speed of 0. So we've got V plus minus VL divided by V, because VS is equal to 0. Right, so times Fs, and we're looking for the observed frequency. Now, please, I want you to note, I always say, I know I'm expecting the frequency of the listener to be greater than that of the source, right? So it means this must be an improper fraction. Remember, if I multiply any number by an improper fraction, this is a typical example of an improper fraction, right? Because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So I get a number that is higher. So in that case, it means this must be an improper fraction, right? And the only way that it can be an improper fraction is if that is a plus. Okay, right. So which means we're looking for the observed frequency, which is x. That's going to be 340 plus 12 divided by 340. And this is multiplied by the frequency of the source. And remember, that was 170. Now, this is, remember, for the first scenario. Okay. So let's do that. What is our value for x? So we're saying this is 340 plus 12 divided by 340. And this is multiplied by 170. So I get a value of 176. So which means the observed frequency is 176 hertz. Now let's go to scenario number 2. Right? Now we are looking for the frequency of the source. Right? If the observed frequency is exactly the same, then V plus minus Vs times Fs. Right, so if the observed frequency is exactly the same, that's 176. Now we've got the source moving at, or rather the source is still stationary. So that's V plus minus Vs, again, Vl over V times Fs. Now, again, which means I need to have a plus over there so that it's an improper fraction. So this is going to be 340 plus 24 divided by 340. But this time around, I am looking for Fs, the frequency of the source. Now, if you know anything about mathematics, right, what are we going to do? We need to just divide by that whole thing, or you can just simply say multiply by the inverse. Okay, so I'm going to take 176. That's 176 divide by 340. 340 plus 24 divided by 340. And I get a frequency of 164 point, well, let's just say 0.4. So the frequency of the source is 164.4 hertz. All right, and that is truly how the cookie crumbles. I hope that we got that. All right, the next question. They say to us X, Y, and Z are absorption spectra. B and R represent the blue and the red ends of the spectra. Spectrum X shows the absorption lines of light from the sun. Okay. And then before we go far, so this is our first reference, our first absorption spectra. Now, if I look at Y, it looks like those lines have been red shifted. They're moving towards the red end. And remember, the red end is where there are lower frequencies, right? So which means, in this case, being a red shift, it means this must be moving away, right? And if I look at Z, this is blue shifted. So it's moving more towards the blue end. Those are higher frequencies. Okay, so it means that must be for a star that's moving towards, right? Now they say which spectrum shows the absorption lines of light from another star that is moving away from the Earth, right? And they say choose from X, Y, and Z and explain the answer. Right, so I am definitely going to say it is Y. So that's our first mark there. Okay, so the absorption spectra So what we note in this case is that the absorption spectra is moved towards the red end, which has lower frequencies. So is moved towards to the red end, which has lower frequencies. Okay, right. And note, according to the Doppler effect, right, shifting towards lower frequencies is a sign that an object is moving away. That's how the cookie crumbles. Okay, so you're going to write that down. I want to continue with it, and I hope that that has been clear as we are going to move on to our next question.